Tuesday, what is today? October 26th, and we're here. I'd like to call the City of Twinsburg Council meeting to order. Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mrs. Labby?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mr. Bellin?
I'm here.
Okay, at this time, we will have the invocation and pledge led by Mrs. Labby. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that will affect all of our residents and businesses and our dedicated city employees. Bless those away from us serving to protect our country. We ask these things in your name.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have the approval of the regular council meeting minutes from October 12th. Can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
Mr. Bellin makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Mrs. Walker, any discussion? Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Well, was there,
There was a revision to add the, excuse me, Mrs. Stoffer.
you excuse Maureen, I don't think it was in there.
Yeah,
It was, we updated it.
Oh,
It
you
was
did
updated.
update. Oh, okay, I don't think,
Yeah.
I didn't think I saw that.
I didn't
Okay.
vote for that.
Any other questions?
What's that?
anything else? All right, call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
And Mr. Scafidi?
Yes. Okay, awards and presentations. We have the NOPEC Green Ribbon Award. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor Yates, Council. Thank you all for allowing us here tonight to present the award. My name is Jose Delgado. As you know, I'm with NOPEC. I am actually the relationship manager for Twinsburg, and my role essentially with NOPEC is to make sure you guys have the best possible experience when dealing with our organization. So with that, very excited about being here this evening. I have my colleagues here, Caitlin Albright and Courtney Freyhoff. They're with our community outreach team. And I'm not going to steal much of Caitlin's thunder here, but very excited for what she's going to present to you all, for the great work you guys did. And as your relationship manager, looking forward to working with you all on future endeavors and see how NOPEC can help, how you can leverage NOPEC and how we can support that and collaborate for future initiatives you have. So with that, I'll leave it with Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
So for the past few years, through our grant program, NOPEC has had a front row seat to the energy efficiency projects that our communities have been working on. We've been able to watch as Northeast Ohio communities put more and more effort into decreasing their energy usage. This year, we created the Green Ribbon Award in an effort to recognize some of these communities and shine a light on these projects so that we can give other communities a chance to learn from your best practices. This year we had 14 outstanding nominations, but the City of Twinsburg's window and door replacement project stood out to our judging committee for a number of reasons. Your plans are dynamic, evolving based on changing technologies and needs. You got your community involved, including organizations and stakeholders. But most of all, you had a very clear understanding of the environmental, social, and economic aspects of your project. I would also like to take a moment to recognize Mayor Yates for his leadership in the project, and Lynn, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. Muter, there we go, for her efforts performing research, drafting plan language, and meeting materials. So it's very clear that the City of Twinsburg has put a lot of effort into your energy efficiency goals. So without further ado, I would like to present, if I can get it out of the bag.
Sounds noisy.
The Green Ribbon Award to the City of Twinsburg, as well as a check for $2,500 to put towards more energy efficiency initiatives.
Wow.
Congratulations,
All right,
everyone.
Thank you. Okay.
Larry.
Of course.
Larry, get up there. Get up there.
Come on, Larry, get up here.
Sam, you're council president, get down. Come on, Sam.
Craig, you got a sport coat.
Sam.
Who has a coat?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's silly. That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Clapping for ourselves.
I just want to say thank you for coming out for the word. I know we do put a lot of effort. Larry does a lot in terms of planning out our energy efficiency projects that we do, NOPECs, the grants that we've had. We've been able to do a lot in our City Hall buildings. I mean, you're looking at LED lights. We put them throughout City Hall. Anytime we do a project, I had a resident actually come up to me yesterday and just personally pull me aside and say thank you for the charging stations that you put around town. He goes, I drive a Volt, and you know, I love having that option of using those. So we're seeing more and more usage, and that was about a $40,000 grant we're able to put in 4 different station locations. So there's a lot of things that we've been able to do with the grant. So, and we appreciate the partnership with NOPEC. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay. Next, we will move on to audience participation. What do we have tonight, Shannon?
First, we have Bob Hughes.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. It's Bob Thews, 2229 Demi Drive in the Meadowood Complex. Last meeting, I discussed and determined that the pavilion at the golf course was not part of the lease between the city and the Burntwood Group. The mayor, on his own, overturned this by making a verbal side deal with the Burntwood Group. Why? I will address this in his discussion. But let's go back to your 7th grade civics class, children. Okay? Remember, this is where you learned about the 3 branches of government, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. The legislative, which is represented by council, okay, is responsible for approving all new plans, leases, laws that are presented to them, as well as generating some laws. The executive is responsible to execute those laws, leases, and run the supporting departments, and is represented by the mayor. We won't discuss the judicial since they are not present. The lease that was approved by the council, purposely excluded both the pavilion and the snack bar from the control of the Burntwood Group. I know this because the lease was detailed down to dishes, flatware, and patio tables. So this was an intentional exclusion. Mayor Yates had this document signed and verbally added to it by giving the Burntwood Group exclusive rights to the pavilion and snack bar. In essence, he legislated, okay, without going through the council. But he is the executive branch and should not be able to do this without resubmitting the change to council. Is this legal? Of course not. But that would be up to the council, the legislative branch, to call him on the carpet. So what happened at that meeting, when this last meeting, when it was discussed? Crickets. The council was stunningly silent on this issue. Not a word spoken, okay? Why would that be? Well, there are 2 distinct reasons, and both are bad. The first is that the council actually did not understand what was done by the mayor, or they're so used to him doing whatever he wants to do with the legislation. If this is the case, I would assume that council failed 7th grade civics. Now, I have my doubts as to whether some of them have the capability to pass it, but I don't believe this. At least one would have scraped by. No, it is more like the second reason, and that is council agrees 100% with the mayor's view towards those who have been the mainstays of revenue for the golf course. That is the golfers. He chose to financially support the Burntwood Group a private company who have well-documented history of starting businesses and closing them in a few years, over a citizens golfers who have been using this course for years and have been paying the bills. It's simple, per the mayor. We can be replaced by other golfers who will pay full prices. The mayor indicates that he has gone out of his way to help us. Well, our league travels on Monday. And I can say with certainty that we pay more green fees at Glen Eagles than all but one course in this area. Such a deal, huh? Thank you for taking care of us, Mayor, and council for your silent agreement. Now, this isn't all the answers why you would be in bed together on this. There is more behind this, but I will let the citizens find out on their own. Eventually it will come out, and they will be incensed. Now, this isn't, all of you,
minute.
you know, all of you disgust me.
1 minute, Mr. Dukes.
All of you disgust me. I thoroughly understand why Mr. Bruce Baldwin comes into council, presents obvious issues that are apparent, and leaves. Even though he speaks the truth, he expects no one will pay attention to him. Citizens' comments, unless they're about pickleball, are all but ignored. Same here. I presented facts, but no one will pay attention, and I plan on leaving as well. I don't need to stick around to hear your political spin. You don't deserve my time or my respect.
Anybody else, Shannon?
Yes, next we have Bruce Baldwin.
Night, Bob.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening, Mr. Baldwin.
Mr. Baldwin?
Hello. First, I would love to talk about the highway between West Idlewood and Glenwood Drive, once known as Killer's Highway and Old Broadway, a main truck route to Cleveland, now known as Route 14 and Ravenna Road. Highway is not in good shape at all. It's a pretty busy highway, schools and I don't travel a lot, every now and then I do, but the funny thing about it is off Liberty Road, the Abrams Drive to Darien Drive, which is a residential street, has been resurfaced this year with asphalt. It seems funny to me because I seen a City of Twinsburg vehicle in a driveway on said street. Second, has fire plug on Route 91 Darrow Road, address 9202, still missing. Old blue top lawn is about 14 inches high. I brought this up once, was taken care of. And that was last week, was 14 inches high. I believe the ordinance is still 8 inches high.
I think it's less.
Pardon?
I think it's 6 inches, I believe.
You believe what?
It's
6 inches.
6? Oh. Well, I wasn't too good at math or anything else. But anyway, thank you, Council, for your time. Take care of yourself and each other. Good evening. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Baldwin.
appreciate it.
That's all we have this evening.
Anybody have any comments?
I mean, yeah, I think for the record, I do appreciate Mr. Thusen, his enthusiasm and his skewed legal analysis of what actually has gone on, but a lot of the things, and I think he's left the room, we can just make that clear, because he didn't really want to hear any one of our comments. Yeah, there are certain areas that are specifically excluded from the lease with Burntwood. The pro shop's one of them, the pavilion. There's different areas that aren't included in that lease when you look it out, but we did turn over the food and beverage operations, which he continues to forget to bring up when he talks about this arrangement that we have. And we don't want to really be in the rental business at the pavilion up there. We don't have the staffing. We've turned over, as he said, it's very specific on dishes and tables and chairs and all that kind of stuff, which is now part of the Burntwood's lease. We're not neglecting groups of golfers. We actually spent a significant amount of time talking with Burntwood in terms of how to accommodate the golfers and making sure that that they understand that it is a golf course and that the 30,000 rounds we have come through there is very, very important to us. And we're not neglecting his group or discounting his group, but we are out of the food and beverage operations. And, it's, residents, I guess, like Bob, who sat up here and screamed and yelled when we were in the restaurant and in banquet business to get out of it. Now that we're out of it, he's screaming and yelling that he'd like us to be back in it, at least for his group only. We can be back in this. But, it's frustrating because We've got a good partnership going. We had a really great year. We'll probably bring it up later. The golf course has done $1.2 million this year. We've been very fortunate to not have been in now the restaurant business over this past year, and we want to continue that. So, it's really all I have to say, and unfortunately he wasn't here to hear it, but I'm sure he'll watch it on video and come back next week and comment again. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. Dillon.
I wanted to address Mr. Thews from last week. I know he was concerned about potential revenue loss of the golfers if his group left. And I'm not talking specifically about the food and beverage, but just about the golf of itself. So I reached out to Brian Menard, who runs our golf operations, and he confirmed with me that the senior rate currently, which is the group that they're paying $29.50 a round. There's roughly 30 players in that particular group, and he confirmed that every single one of those tee times was filled when that group left. And they range between $29.50 and $44 per round, depending on if they were residents or non-residents. So, at least in terms of the potential lost revenue from a golf perspective, I'm very happy to say that it was more than recouped. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Fury.
I play in a golf league at Glen Eagles, and I think with the golf cart that I rent, because I don't walk, my fee is pretty much what they pay for 18. And that's okay. I don't have an issue with that. I'm in prime time after work, not the same as a senior league that's in the morning. But my golf league had our banquet at A&M at the golf club, and the food was great, the service was great. It's a 20-week season. If you put $1 away once a week into or just charge a fee in your group, you don't have to come out of pocket at the end of the year. You have $20 a player. Yeah, we keep rainouts and use them for prize money, instead of getting refunds that they were talking about. There's lots of ways to make that work. It's just, it's not that. It's obvious, Mr. Thews, it's a big deal, but nobody else has talked to me about not being able to get in the pavilion in 2 years, and this is the 4th time we've had this conversation. So, thank you.
Just in the interest of setting the record straight, it's been brought to my attention that Twinsburg teaches civics at the 3rd grade level.
Branches
So
of government.
I went to Ravenna. We didn't have that class.
I just
We
want
learned
to qualify
branches.
that
We
for the
learned
record.
branches.
I took government when I was a
Great here in
senior.
Twinsburg. So our kids are going to be ready for council.
I just want to address Mr. Baldwin's comment with regards to Ravenna Road. I believe you were talking about between East Idlewood and Glenwood, correct? Yeah, that our engineers applied for monies for that section of road, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's coming up.
Next year.
I thought it was next year, right? Yeah, I was looking at Sarah to hope to get the answer, but I think it was
I think
next
it's
year.
23.
We have a piece of Ravenna Road. I'm just not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's that piece. In the meantime, the service department has done the best that they can. I mean, there's no giant crater holes in it. I understand it's not the smoothest part of Ravenna Road. Ravenna Road's really a nice road, but that piece is a little bit, it does need attention, and we're aware of it, and so I believe next year that'll be taken care of.
Yeah, Mr. Bell, and that was scheduled out a few years, and we got together with AMATS in terms of, we pushed that project up a couple of years. So, again, I think it is next year, but it's that final section of Ravenna that just needs to be paid.
The other part's like glass.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's new,
Right.
yeah.
Just done a couple years ago. Last year. Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can take the part from Darien Road and move it there, move that part from Darien Road.
It was a whole different project there.
When
Got it.
that's
different asphalt
That's,
over there.
yeah, different funding for that is right.
I love Mr. Baldwin's humor. That's my road, so, you know.
Well, I do, actually, that, I mentioned to you about when they had that fire stolen at that parts store.
Mm-hmm.
There was still no fire plug in front of it as of this morning. And for a building that big, I mean, if that place goes, let me tell you what, that scooter worries me.
That's one by Wilcox.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
by Wilcox, Avenue 12.
That's what worries me, that school building, there's only one way in and one way out. That's why police department, a lot of police departments say, no, you're gonna have one way in and one way out, so we can catch them people, so you don't go this way, and they go out that way, but in a situation like that, you're only gonna go in and out one way.
Yeah,
Those are repaired, I'm sorry, those are repaired by the Cleveland Water Department, not by the city. And I'm assuming that we've been aware of that and somebody's, I'm sure somebody discussed it with them.
Yeah, Chief actually, the last meeting after, and I believe you had left, the chief came up, they are aware of that one. It is on their list, and there actually is water access directly across the street. So he's,
Across the street?
I'm not sure exactly where that hydrant is. That's
And
what he said.
Division of Water controls
It's-
all
It can't
those.
be across the street.
Division-
It's within-
Cleveland Division of Water controls all those.
Right, that's what I said, yeah, Cleveland
Would you
Division
rather
of
talk
Water.
to Cleveland Water?
And I'm sure it's been reported, it just sometimes takes a little bit of time.
Shannon, do you want to clarify?
He is right. It's on the same side of the street, but Chief did say that there is, I think, 2 hydrants that would access that area. They have enough hose to access to be able to handle anything that happened
I
there.
was really worried about that school, but I was kidding.
Yeah.
Something did happen there. Maybe
Okay.
there's a hydrant back there too, yeah.
We done there?
Thank
What
you.
about Blue Top? Why was that, that was last week, that was at least 14 inches high. The lawn.
That should have gone to the building department, so.
I mean, we're working on getting that whole building raised, so, I mean, that's been what we've been focused on. But again, the owner of Blue Top and the owner of the house next door has very much been in our sights, so we're working to clean up a lot of properties that are associated with that particular owner.
Well, the reason I felt bad about Blue Top, they were supposed to be helping people with drug abuse, which I'm more in favor of, but what did they do with those people? That was supposed to be a halfway house.
No.
I understood.
That was never slated to be a halfway house. No.
So I got the
Quite
wrong
the
information.
opposite, yeah.
Excuse me, I did not, I
That's
was
right.
going by what I heard, what I was understood.
Okay, that's it, Shannon?
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move on to Consequential Committee reports. Good night, Mr. Baldwin. Maureen Stuffer.
Oh, I do. I have a report. Okay. So because I was not at our last meeting, I have a report from ARB meeting that took place on October 7th. There were 3 cases on the agenda. 9036 Church Street. There was an addition that was discussed, and I think they tabled that. Case 21-1075-9044 Cross Street. This was an addition that was approved. Case 21-1076, 2019 Trailwood, and this was a kitchen addition that was also approved as noted. I'm going to have to get back to you on the addition on Church Street, because I don't see notes on that, so I have to look for the minutes on that. On October 21st, we had another ARB meeting. At that meeting, there were 3 cases on the agenda, 8950 Dutton Drive. It was a sign, and that was approved. We had 2651 Aurora Road. Variance was requested, and this was for a Twinsburg Family Medical signage. This is a business that's opening up on Ravenna Road at the old veterinarian clinic there. So they're refurbishing that building, and that was approved also. There's another case, 9433 Chamberlain Road. That was a detached barn, and that was also approved as noted. I attended the Special Committee for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion meeting on October 11th, and I believe somebody already reported on that. That was, I think you guys did at the last meeting. Yeah, that was a great meeting. Then we had another meeting last night, October 25th, for the Special Committee for the Justice, Police, and Relations, the subcommittee meeting. We got through a lot there. We talked about different ways for community engagement. We have, talking about city mentorship, welcome packets for specific minorities, a couple of other things that just came about that we are going to then present later to the committee, the next full committee meeting, which is going to take place on November 8th, Monday, November 8th at 6 o'clock. The next Justice and Police Relations Subcommittee will be Monday, November 22nd. And then I just wanted to congratulate Sarah. Congratulations, well done on your award, and that is, yeah.
You're here.
Yeah, yay, congratulations to Sarah, and that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Mrs. Laddy.
I did not attend any meetings, but I also wanted to congratulate Sarah and Sharon for the 4-star, Shannon for the 4-star rating for the Sunshine Law.
Yeah. Oh, Shannon, sorry about that. I was trying to get the jump on these guys.
Yeah.
Congratulate.
I thought I would never jump on you. I had nothing to report. I was going to say something.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Mr. Perry.
Thank you. I attended a board meeting for the Western Reserve Cable Consortium, which is community focused. Community focused used to be Channel 9 when it was cable, and the executive director is Mary Kidd. They do a phenomenal job of programming. That you can get the information, or you can get their programming off an app or off their website. And this week, they're even on rainy nights, they stood out there and videotaped the girls' soccer teams. So I got to watch the Nordonia game last night, even though I had a ticket. I didn't want to sit in the rain, and they did a phenomenal job. But community focused. Please go on their website. They do the mayor reports. They have candidates nights right now, as well as local sporting events, especially with the teams that are going to the state playoffs. I had a resident contact us about Ohio Edison poles and light replacements that have been out for a period of time. Ohio Edison is who fixes those lights, and the city is working with the police department at night to put a list together so that we can work with Ohio Edison more closely to get those fixed in a timely manner, and bring somebody in from Ohio Edison to help us work through that list. If you're a senior and you have leaves in your yard, you can contact the Twinsburg Scouts. This in November are doing a community service project where they're going to rake leaves for seniors and take care of that. If you're a Twinsburg resident and interested in getting your leaves raked by the Boy Scouts, please call St. Cosmas and Damian's Parish at 330-425-8141, and Keith Barnes is the person that's coordinating it. I was going to say we have a brief presentation tonight. We had 1,100 residents interviewed a year ago to find out what they thought was important or the challenges facing Twinsburg. Finances, false information on Twinsburg, and communications with residents were the top 3 items. Mark? So this is the statement of cash from September, excuse me. It'll show that the general fund was started at 1.8 million at the beginning, is going to end, estimated to end right now at 14 million. So we're looking at a slight increase of roughly $2 million from the beginning to ending currently off the statement of cash. And our cash on hand on unexpended balance is 31.2 million. So this is prior to any tax money coming in from the issue 2 property tax for police and fire, but we're in good shape today. I want to talk about the gas aggregation program that the city of Twinsburg has. If there was ever a year for you to pay attention to your gas and electric bill, it's this year. Most people are on 1 or 2 year contracts. The city of Twinsburg still has a rate available. This is a small cutout of a gas bill from Dominion East Ohio. The red box will show you who you're getting your gas from. Most likely you're not getting it from Dominion East Ohio. It's important that you see, there'll be a phone number in there that'll tell you who you're getting your gas from. You should call them to find out when your contract expires. Often these expire in the September, October, November timeframe as they're seasonal. And if you're on a variable this winter, the current rate in Twinsburg is 2.82. If you're on a variable in February, you're probably going to look at $8. There's significant increases in natural gas coming this winter. Our current letter is with Constellation. The number is 800-699-4666. 4041. You can get in on $2.82 through September 22nd. Mark, I get the next slide? This is a snapshot, a screenshot of Apples to Apples, which is the PUCO, Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. Today, when you're looking at rates out 2 years, fixed rates that are 12 months, 36 months, there's some 24s, you'll see some of those are double. I mean, there's a 12-month there at $7.59. And this is what you would do today. Again, if you try to do this in February, when the peak season is, and we're supposed to have a rough winter, you're going to be, you know, in my opinion, plus 8. So the same information for electricity. We are a NOPEC supplier, so we just got the NOPEC award tonight. We're on a fixed program with NOPEC where they negotiate rates at all. But there is also an apples to apples comparison on the PUCO website for gas and electric. You should check and see what you're paying for electric. Again, if you haven't looked at this in the past, you might be on a variable. You do not want to be on a variable this winter into the summer with what's going on with energy prices. So if you have any questions, please contact City Hall and they can give you my contact information. My contact information is on our website. Be happy to help anybody. But if you haven't looked at your gas bill, there might not be a better month ever in your life to look at your gas bill than now. Lastly, there's a great the Thanksgiving community dinner. They're taking donations for this. This is I think our 14th year. If you want to be involved, contact 216-352-1883 to register because it is a curbside pickup. You have to be on the list to get in line to get the free community Thanksgiving dinner. So, and that's all I have this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Bowen.
Good evening. Thank you very much. The next meeting of the full Jedi Committee will be on Monday, November 8th, 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. The next meeting of the Jedi Community Outreach Subcommittee is currently not yet planned. Board of Zoning Appeals met on Wednesday, October 13th at 6:30 p.m. Appeal number 08-2021 was requesting a setback variance from a retention pond was granted unanimously. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that council would waive the 30-day waiting period on this project. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Again, this is just a setback variance. It's a pool. It is a retention pond. And again, it took about 35 seconds of discussion for the board. So, Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Council. The BZA meeting originally scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday, October 27th, has been canceled due to lack of things on the agenda. BZA is next scheduled to meet on Wednesday, November 24th, 6:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers. Nothing further this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I did attend the Jedi meeting, Justice and Police, yesterday, and I think Maureen, Mrs. Stoffer, gave a report on that. I attended the finance meeting today, and Mr. Scafidi did a great job in his presentation. On October 28th, which is a Thursday, I will be attending the Parks and Rec Committee meeting at 6:30, and it will be held in council chambers. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Mr. Barr.
Good evening. Since we last met, none of my committees have met. We do have a Planning Commission meeting this coming Monday, which is November 1st here in Council Chambers at 7 p.m. There's going to be a 30-day public notice hearing regarding a conditional use permit. So if you'd like to attend, we love having visitors to those things. I attended the Finance Committee meeting tonight. I believe Mr. Scafidi is going to give a report on that. A lot of good pieces of information that came out of there. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. As been mentioned, the Finance Committee met earlier this evening. There were a few things on the items on the agenda. We discussed the American Rescue Plan and use of the funds It was a continued discussion from the last meeting. Some of the things that we looked at in council, the Finance Committee did make a recommendation for legislation to be drawn up and then for council's approval after that legislation is taken care of. First things for the 2021 and 2022 disbursements. We're looking at $25,000. Just remember that we received $987,593 this year, and we will get the same amount again next year. The first item that we're looking to put money toward is $25,000 for an upgrade for our Safety Town. Safety Town, we've had that for several years here in town, and I think that I believe everybody agrees that it's time that we put some money into that and did some upgrades to it and improvements there. So that's one thing that's on the agenda. Next thing we're looking at is about $385,000 for the Door Ridge water line project that is due to take place in Glenwood Acres. We also have $577,593 going toward revenue replacement. So I believe that's a really good breakdown of the monies that we're spending. For next year, we're looking at most of it going to our road repair program. We've got about 5% of the total monies that we've discussed putting aside, which is premium pay for our full-time employees. All full-time employees that are here as of November 1st will get a $1,500 bonus, or I don't know what you want to call it.
Hazard pay.
Hazard pay, there you go. Hazard pay that we're taking out of these funds as well. So again, that's 5% of the almost $2 million that we're receiving from this money. And so that's what was discussed, and that's what council decided that the Finance Committee decided to put forward to the rest of council for their discussion. The next thing we discussed was the 2020 budget. Sarah gave us a nice update on that. There's a few numbers that I wanted to put out to the residents, and Scott Barr's going to take it from there. He's going to throw out some numbers there.
Yeah, so just piggybacking on what Mr. Scafidi said, we had some really good news come out of finance tonight. For this year, our healthcare expenses are down 29% from the same time last year, and that totals about $635,000. They're again, just continuing to look at every avenue we can to be fiscally conservative and to keep our eyes on watching where our spend is. Our income tax revenues through October are up about 7.5% from a year ago. Now, granted, we were in the middle of a pandemic then. We're down about 2% from pre-pandemic levels. And there are some uncertainties on the horizon with our income tax revenues with some of the legislation coming up, but it's good to know that we're up about 7.5% year over year to this point. The golf course, huge shout out to the guys at the golf course. Their operating revenues are at about 106% of projected, and that's or budgeted revenues for the year. And that's just, I think, a real testament to the golf course operations and our folks over there, just doing a yeoman's job of maintaining that course, getting people in. We're seeing some of the benefits of the golf cart revenues and things of that nature. So some of those expenditures that people were critical of at the time are now starting to pay dividend, and so that's good to see. Our fitness center subsidy, Mr. Fury was discussing, it's about $22,000 through the month of September, which according to him was
It's the lowest I've ever heard of it.
lowest in his
Since it's
time.
been
on
open.
council. So
We've been upward of 500,000 at one time since our terms on
It
council.
averaged 350.
Yeah.
So it's just good to know that, again, our finance department, Mrs. Butchie Gross and her staff, mayor, you guys are really on top of this, and I think it's just important that these things get mentioned and talked about as highlights. Again, I know Mrs. Labby and Mrs. Stauffer congratulated our finance department on their Auditor of the State Award. I think this is our second year now in a row. Mrs. Collins with our 4-star rating on our transparency. So to the naysayers, I think we're doing pretty well, and I think that opinion is shared amongst my peers here, and certainly the Auditor of the State thinks we're doing a good job. So there's just some good news out of finance. I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for jumping in and sharing that report with me. Probably numbers I would have got them mixed up somewhere along. No worries. So I appreciate your help. Okay, next we'll move on to the mayor's report.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just I want to mention to council, we've been working with the Summit County Public Health. Sheila Williams is up to be reappointed to that board, so we're going to send our support to Sheila from council and from myself, and we're prepared a letter. There might be a resolution we need, but we're trying to find that out. But right now, just going to make everyone aware, and hopefully we all have the support to reappoint Sheila to that board. We have our Fall Festival coming up this weekend. It's a big event. It's kind of taken a few events that we've done in the past and put them together. The Truck or Treat's really the fun one for the kids, but we also have some adult activities going on with kind of a college game day sports bar kind of set up. We have you can order dinner and have that prepared. I know there's ways to order that dinner pre-event, and this should be really a lot of fun. Hopefully the weather holds out. I've been watching it, and it's a little dicey, but hopefully it holds out for that. Rain or shine, we're going to have it, so show up anyway. I did attend this past weekend the CSF, which is a Chiari Cinque Foundation Dance. It's a really big event that if you don't know those disorders, it affects a number of people in our community. I've always attended this event just because it's a really well-run event. I want to support it. But then a few years ago, my daughter ended up with a large fluid-filled cyst in her spinal cord, which is syngramyelia. So it has a little different meaning to me today to attend this. And I was honored. They asked me to speak. Really, their theme this year was thanking essential workers. So I was able to spend a little bit of time in front of everyone there, thanking those that make a difference in our community that kind of got us through the pandemic. So I just want to, commend Kathy Posnick and her team that puts that event on every year. I am on the Kent State, our local campus here, board, and we had a meeting the other day and just talked about just in general how the campus is doing. We are seeing, we did see a rise last year in enrollment. We're seeing a little bit of a decline this year. They're really getting proactive and looking at different ways to kind of partner with some of our businesses in town to really get some specific offerings to really help a lot of the businesses in town really kind of hone in on some of the skills and needs that they have with some of the workforce that we have in Twinsburg. And so we're going to try to assist in them in doing that. We're still having meetings with businesses, so it's the same topics keep coming up in terms of just the need to find additional workers, skilled workers, and they're all still struggling with that. We're still having those discussions about the work at home. And as we mentioned, a couple of our large businesses are going to be primarily working from home, and we're still trying to gauge that with the rest of our community. But I'm happy to report that some of our businesses have come through quite well. But we're still setting up meetings all the time with the ones that that we can get in front of. So, and then I just have to commend Sarah Bucci-Gross, our finance director, and her team. It was a really challenging year in 2020, and so to come out with this award, which is the Auditor of Ohio State Award with Distinction, which is the highest honor that can be, that the auditors hand out to municipalities, and there's only 8 communities/counties that in Ohio that got that award this year. So I want to thank her. I know she doesn't seem, at times we take her for granted, but she does a great job for us here in the city. And that is all I have this evening. We've got a couple department heads report. Larry, you want to start?
Sure.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, Council.
Hi there.
Larry. Just thought this would be a great opportunity tonight with the NOPEC Award, Green Ribbon Award, to talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan. Just kind of a little bit of background. This year's comprehensive plan update is focusing on sustainability. It's only fitting that we talk about that at this meeting after receiving an award for that very subject. It's been really a serious issue in the city of Twinsburg for many years. Back in 2013, we got the
Sustainability Award. And we continued to address sustainability issues since that time. The current comprehensive plan, and a couple of the people here tonight have served on the comprehensive plan committee. That committee's met seven times. We went over a whole variety of sustainability issues and subjects. And it is such a holistic and broad subject that it's kind of hard to comprehend in many ways. So I really want to extend my appreciation to the committee for their indulgence in the whole process, and we've really benefited by their input. And I think that some of the members have benefited from their participation in the effort. I think it may have opened their eyes on a couple of issues. And made them think a little bit differently about how they view the things around them. Some of the we took an actual field trip with a group that I thought was pretty interesting, and I thought it was well attended and appreciated by the people who participated. We looked at stream restoration projects and kind of realized the difference between the environmental benefit and what some people perceive as that weedy mess over there. So, there are different perspectives in terms of how you look at these things, and trying to get everybody to think along the same lines of sustainability and environmental conservation can be a challenge in some cases where that kind of thought process has to be overcome. So we continue to work on the draft. And I also want to suggest that we have an opportunity sometime to recognize some local efforts in sustainability. We have had the Christ the King Church did a wonderful pollinator garden that really hasn't gotten any press or much recognition, but it was a significant effort on their part, totally voluntary. So those are the kind of things I think we should try to recognize a little more frequently. So with this whole effort, we looked through the trends that we usually look at in the comprehensive plan: housing, population, all those things. And we are actually now moving on to sustainability criteria and procedures and policies, basically. We've had some practices that have been implemented in the various departments in the past, but they're not policies, they're not city policy. They are just primarily, the building department purchased paper with high recycled content. Some other departments did the same thing. But there was never a policy at the city level to do something like that, to worry about recycled content or purchase of equipment with recycled content. So that's what we're trying to put in place, is a review of what we've done in the past, a review of those things that are sustainability things that could be continued as procedures and policies in the years ahead. And then part of the effort is establishing a greenhouse gas baseline. And that's what that is involved is taking all our use of energy as a city, including how we burn gas and diesel fuel in our service vehicles or all the police vehicles. Estimate the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that are committed to the atmosphere by all those practices. And that will give us a baseline so that in the future, if we want to take a look at how much progress we've made towards sustainability efforts, we could do the same thing another year in the future compared to this year's baseline and know if we've made any real progress. So that is going to be a great tool that can be used in the future. And then finally, we're going to have a number of policies and procedures that we'll be recommending. Obviously, those things are going to come to council. We will have the draft done just about by the end of this month. Give us maybe a week one way or the other. And we'll make a presentation to council.
Shortly after council, we'll take it to planning commission. Well, first, I'm sorry, I skipped the procedure there. We need to get it back to the committee so they can review it and give their blessing to the draft. The draft then will come to council and planning commission. And we'll provide a presentation to council so you have the chance to ask us any questions about the whole process. So I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight to kind of give you an update. We're very close to getting it to council. It should happen prior to the end of the year. And we're excited to be moving forward with this in this way. Regarding other activities, as the mayor mentioned, we've been meeting with a number of companies to try to get a handle on the work at home situation and how that's going to continue or not continue in the future and what those implications might be to the city. At the same time, we've had a number of business retention and expansion meetings. So there's still a lot of activity out there that we are attempting to secure for the city or to contribute to business expansions within the city. We've had some interest in things like the Intermountain building or other buildings in town that I think are going to come to fruition in the relatively near future. Obviously, you'll be informed when that happens. Beyond that, just a quick update on the CIC. We are currently working with the mayor and the law director to try to understand how the relationship between the CIC, the city, and private property owners in the redevelopment area might work, and how everybody needs to be represented with legal counsel for their own protection, and how it might proceed towards getting something in line in terms of an agreement with a developer and those kinds of things. So we're going through a lot of different considerations at this particular time, but I think we're going to be very close to moving forward with something. And again, the CIC will be involved and informed of their role in this thing, and we will come to council, obviously, for your blessing and for the participation of council in what's going to happen in the central area. It's a pretty exciting time, I think. We're not there yet. Matter of fact, we're ways from it yet, but we're as close as we've ever been, and the potential is great. So I just wanted to give you an update on those things. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them, but that's my report for tonight.
Larry, I have a quick question about the building on the corner of Chamberlain and 82.
Yes.
Snell building?
Yes.
They're going to occupy part of that, correct?
On the corner of Chamberlain and
what did I say? Chamberlain. 82. Chamberlain and 82.
Okay, you're talking about the new building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is 2/3 spoken for.
Oh,
It's
it is?
2/3 occupied already, it's not even
Okay.
constructed.
That's cool.
That's real nice.
Right. And that hasn't, there's been no public announcement of the tenant yet, but, so I
Okay.
can't.
That's what I was wondering, if it's just kind of a spec building, or is there,
Yeah, it was a
we have
spec
some-
building.
Well, spec building.
but we have
Yeah.
tenants that.
We've got 2 tenants already.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Great.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Yeah, that's real nice.
Larry, do you think we'll have a CIC meeting before the end of the year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I expect within about probably 2 or 3 weeks away.
So before
I know it's been a
December?
while, but we're trying to work out some things, so we have something
Okay,
positive and,
Yeah.
substantive to bring to the CIC.
great, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
you.
And now Ms. Sarah.
Good evening, council. I do appreciate all the congratulations on the audit award, but genuinely, that is an award for the city. You do well on your audits when you have an engaged council, an engaged mayor, department heads, employees who are diligent in following the policies that we have to do. So it truly is for the city. Now, the 4-star rating is genuinely Shannon.
How many stars are there?
You can get 4, she gets 4. Last year, that program was brand new from the state of Ohio. We did not know what they were going to ask us for. We did not know what they were going to audit us on. and her and Dave too worked together to provide the auditors with what they needed, and right out of the gate, they got 4 stars, and they got 4 stars again. So congratulations to them.
That's great.
And really, the rest of my report, when it's Finance Committee night, you guys kind of do it for me. So I don't really have anything else. I was ticking off all my items as you guys were talking through them. So I appreciate that, but that's all I have for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all we have.
Okay, next we'll go to legislation. We have ordinance 79, 2021.
An ordinance establishing a policy regarding standard operating procedures for the implementation of Title VI non-discrimination policy.
Okay, that's its second reading. Ordinance 84, 2021.
An ordinance amending Chapter 1321 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Twinsburg regarding enforcement, Architectural Review Board.
Okay, that's its first reading. Next we'll move on to unfinished new business and miscellaneous. Mr. Barr.
Nothing for me this evening, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bellin.
I just want to wish everybody a happy and healthy, safe Halloween this weekend, and watch out for trick-or-treaters on Sunday evening between 6 and 8. Also, make sure you get out and vote on Tuesday, November 2nd. I just want to take the opportunity to thank the poll workers and the folks that get out there and do that job. It's generally a thankless job. It's a long day, and I really do appreciate it. Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Stoffer.
I wanted to congratulate Larry, who just left, on that NOPEC award. How did I forget him? Well, congratulations to Larry and his team. Sorry. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Fury.
Thank you. I really enjoyed watching that soccer game the other day. I'm telling you, the Twinsburg girls are keeping the ball away from the whoever they're playing. They're just, it was phenomenal. I mean, I've never seen a team be so in charge and control. I don't think there was a shot on goal the full first half. So
There were 2.
There were 2?
My granddaughter plays for their dog.
In the first half? In the first half? It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I knew where to go there. Your granddaughter played extremely well. Yeah. All right. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you very much. Catch a soccer game if you can.
Mrs. Walker.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Labby.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, all I have is the next council meeting will be November 9th. Caucus will be at 7 o'clock. Just a quick reminder, Shannon, did we already move the meetings in December? I thought we did that a while back.
The first meeting
So
in
that's taken
January.
care of.
Did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
7th and the 14th.
and that's all I have.
I
Mayor.
forgot.
Nothing else for me this evening. Thank you.
I did too.
Mr. Maestros is not here. Shannon, do you have anything tonight?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, hearing nothing, then we have no absent members, so we will adjourn the meeting.